Welcome to the show. 4 coaches will be with us this week. We'll start with Mark Elder and the football team coming off a dominating 33-6 win over Eastern Illinois in driving rain up in Charleston. And you held them to 2 first downs and 20 yards until their last drive, and thought you just won the line of scrimmage on offense and defense.
Yeah, really a lot of the victory is attributed to those big guys up front, that's for sure. I mean, we defensively, we controlled the line of scrimmage. They really struggled to run the football effectively, and that was due to our D-line and linebackers doing a great job. And we created a new line of scrimmage, knocked them back a bunch, and tackled well. And then same thing, conversely, on offense, I thought that we were able to get a lot of movement up front. Our backs ran hard. I mean, they ran through some tackles as well. But really, that game was won in the trenches, and kudos to the O&D line and the coaches and so forth.
We had him on the show last week. The place kicker, Sam Hayworth, named OVC Specialist of the Week, missed his first field goal and then hit 4 in a row in the second half. I know you want touchdowns, not field goals, but Sam banged them through and has really been solid for you.
Absolutely, yeah, and we do want touchdowns now. The driving rain that certainly made it very much one-dimensional, and we did try to throw a couple up to our receivers, and if that didn't work, it was going to put us behind the count a little bit. So we did have to kick a couple field goals. Sam did a great job. The first one was a hair low. They got some penetration and got a hand up and blocked it. I thought it was on target, and then under those circumstances to hit those 4 field goals, that was huge. So he did a great job, and then on top of that, he came in and kicked off in the second half for us and did a really nice job in that regard. We got a turnover off of one of his kicks and some good placement on that as well.
The Ohio Valley Conference is crazy. I mean, it is top-heavy at the top. There are 4 teams, including EKU, with 1 loss and Jacksonville State with 2 losses. And you've got most of them ahead of you on the schedule, except for Tennessee Martin. It begins with Austin Peay, very balanced team that has the most yards per game in the OVC, and they're really rolling.
Absolutely. No, everything's in front of us. That's what's great. Felt like it would be. A couple weeks ago we talked about that after we lost to Martin, that guys, we just put our head down and we keep working every single day. We're going to have an opportunity to hoist a trophy at the end, and we're back in that situation where it's in our control. If we can go week in and week out and play well enough to win each week, we're in control of our own destiny again. And we got a huge challenge this weekend in Austin Peay. I mean, they are a really well-rounded team. I mean, they're good in all 3 phases. Offensively, they can run the football, they can throw the football. I think the quarterback's playing great. Senior guy's been around there for a long time, Javon Craig. So a couple running backs. They got a couple really dynamic receivers, and their line's playing well. Defensively, they get after you. I mean, they are leading the conference in rush defense. They play tight coverage out on the perimeter. So we're going to have our hands full. We're going to have a great week of preparation. It
was a come-from-behind win down at Austin Peay last year, and that was kind of the coming out party for your quarterback, Parker McKinney. So obviously Austin Peay will remember that. But these are 2 different teams than last year, aren't they? I mean, popping in that tape, do you see some similarities, or is it different?
No, I think it's different. There might be a lot of the same people out there, but there's very different teams out there as far as they got a new coaching staff, so schematically they're different than what they've been. They got a lot of new players out there as well, but they're playing well. A lot of those guys were there last year and will remember that game. I don't know if that'll play a part or not, but both teams are playing a lot better than what they were at that point in time last year.
Okay, Mark, good luck against Austin Peay. It's the Colonels and the Governors kickoff at 1 o'clock at Roy Kidd Stadium on Saturday. We have radio coverage at 100.7 FM. You can find it on the TuneIn app and streaming at EKUsports.com. Also, television coverage on ESPN+. And when we come back, we'll go inside to talk basketball. Sam Williams, the new head coach of the women, with us next.
Every day is a concept that few people can commit to. Every day requires a level of dedication that forces you to test your limits.
Every day I'll give back to the community because I draw strength from their support. Every day the sounds of your cheers will echo through my mind. Knowing that you have my back means I can always look forward.
Every day I'll be too tired to sweat and my bones will ache. Every day will provide me with the slight edge that I need to succeed. Champions are built every day.
At Eastern Kentucky University, we recognize greatness starts in the classroom, but it doesn't end there. You have to get hands-on, get real-world experience, and discover who you are meant to be. Be a crime fighter. Be a visionary. Be a colonel. See what you can be. Visit go.eku.edu/colonel.
We turn our attention now to basketball and talk with Sam Williams, new head coach of the women's team. It all starts November 6th against Northern Kentucky in Richmond before you go down to Memphis. So a lot of new players, 4 players that did have starts last year back, and then I look 4 new freshmen, 2 junior college players, 3 Division I transfers, 2 of whom will be eligible this year. So you got a mixture. How's it been going?
It's been going great. You know, you have your normal growing pains, but I tell you, this year's team, they've done a great job of coming together. You've got 3 different groups. You've got, as you mentioned, the transfers, you've got the returners, and you've got the freshmen. And they've really done a great job of coming together as a team off the court. Now it's a matter of trying to get them to mesh on the court.
Last year it was just tough to find ways to score, and I know you told me before we came on camera that that's the one thing you'll still fight through, and you did through your exhibition. So what's it going to take to be a better scoring team?
Not turn the ball over. We just played a private scrimmage and we had 24 turnovers. And anytime you're giving the opponent extra possessions, that's not good for you. So we got to try to cut down our turnovers, better offensive execution, and then create some opportunities on the defensive end with some easy baskets.
When we get the roster the first game, and if you're not familiar with the team, as I look down that roster, who should we look for? Who's gonna step up and surprise everybody?
Well, I think you know, with the returners, Shea Solomon has been very solid in practice, along with Bria Bass. I think you're going to see any of the returners, I think you're going to see them improve. Of the new players, Ilea Green, the transfer from Cincinnati, 6'3", post player, I think she's going to make an immediate impact. And as you mentioned before, Samari Mowbray, the transfer from Northern Kentucky, she's also going to make an immediate impact for us.
How do you want to play? I mean, if you had your way, and I know you have to adjust to the talent you have and the team that you play, but what do you want to do?
We want to play up tempo. That is my overall philosophy. We want to get up the floor, play in transition, create easy scoring opportunities, whether it be shoot the 3 quickly, layups, but that's the way we want to play. We want to get up and down the floor. Obviously, with this year's team, we're going to be selective with that, but we're going to also look to push it again this year. That's one of the things we've been concentrating on in practice.
Think there'll be any nerves like when you played at Auburn, probably nerves that first time you stepped on the court as a college player. Now first year as a head coach. Is it going to be different for you, or is it just basketball?
It is just basketball, but I'm sure there's going to be a little bit of nerves. I wouldn't per se call it a situation where you're going to freeze. I've been prepared for this. I've been a part of some great teams under some really good coaches, Hall of Fame coaches, and I feel like I'm prepared for this. I feel like I'm built for this, and I'm excited about next week. And
you've had the opportunity now. I mean, there are only 350 of these jobs in the country, so you have to feel blessed that it's your chance now, Sam.
It is, and with the tradition of the program, and that's one of the things I'm out there selling, is this program has won before. It has a community that is hungry to win, and administration that wants to win. And when you have those two things, you're already going in the right direction.
All right, Sam, good luck against Northern Kentucky.
Thank you very much.
That's where it all begins for the women's basketball team. It'll be a day after the men tip-off. This game, Wednesday, November 6th against Northern Kentucky, 7 o'clock tip. And then the Colonels head to Memphis to take on the Tigers Saturday afternoon, November 9th. When we come back, we will be back a little later with A.W. Hamilton, the head coach of the men. But up next, Cory Erdmann talks about the OVC Cross Country Championships.
The demand for food, energy, and commodities is growing. Be part of the solution with an agriculture degree from EKU.
Opportunities within the ag department are building our next generation of agriculturalists.
An ag degree can prepare you for careers in teaching, growing, engineering, veterinary medicine, and more. At EKU, you will get hands-on.
Eastern has some awesome agriculture facilities. They have the greenhouses and they have the farm, and they let their students go out and experience all that stuff.
And you'll be part of a campus community that feels like family.
Eastern has been my home away from home. It has given me so many opportunities, not only in my education, but also in the workplace.
Future-proof your career at EKU.
Time now on the show to talk cross country, and Cory Erdmann joins us, the coach of the men and women, and it's the OVC Championships this year, Saturday morning in Edwardsville, Illinois. On the men's side, you have a powerful team. Belmont's pretty good as well this season, so what do you expect out of your guys?
It's a conference championship. We expect to go in and compete for the title. We don't take anything for granted. This is a relatively young group, much younger than we've had in the last few years, and Belmont's a very competitive team that I think has a outside chance at the NCAA meet out of the South region. So we're going to go in there, give it our best shot, and compete as best we can, and try to come back with an OVC championship.
And obviously this builds up to the NCAA Southeast Regional 2 weeks after that. You ran as a team in the Wisconsin meet, which has many of the top 30 teams in the country in it. And I noticed that 3 freshmen were in your top 5 finishers in that. So that goes back to young squad.
Yeah, this is a young team. And that was a very challenging meet because of the sheer volume of participants and the volume of participants who are elite level athletes. Our guys came away from that meet a little disappointed, which was good, frankly, because that was a learning experience, and I think that gives us something to build on as we go into the later parts of the season. And having watched them the last couple of weeks, they've rebounded well, so we're getting ready to go, I think.
On the women's side, Viola Suromont finished 13th in the pre-nationals in Terre Haute, same weekend as the Nuttycombe up in Madison, Wisconsin. So she's leading your women's team. What do you expect from the women?
Yeah, again, sort of same story. We're very young. In all likelihood, we could have as many as 4 or 5 new girls in our top 5 who didn't race in the OVC last year. So it's a very young team, mostly of freshmen and sophomores. And really, we've been led by essentially 2 freshmen, and then have another one in our top 5 basically all year. And again, the conference is getting better. So we think that Eastern Illinois, Tennessee Martin in particular this year, and Belmont will give us a challenge, and hopefully our ladies are ready to compete.
How important is this meet to make sure you get into the NCAA regionals?
It's not. This meet is a conference championship, so we view it as really as sort of the capstone of the season. Now, the NCAA regionals is set up differently. Mm-hmm. It doesn't require an OVC championship to get into it. But that said, it is the race that qualifies you to the NCAA finals. Our sport's the hardest to make the finals in. They only take 31 teams. So it doesn't get you to the regional meet, but it's very important to have success at this meet to then continue on.
And this is a new course for you. You personally have never seen it. You'll take your runners up there. They'll run it the day before the meet, but you got to adjust to the conditions. Cross-country courses aren't like a track, right? I mean, they're all different.
Yeah, you never know what you're going to be seeing or dealing with. It could be very hilly. It could be very flat. It could be fast. It could be slow. But that's part of what I think makes our group, both on the men and women's side, tough, is they tend to adapt well and be competitive in whatever environment they're in, and hopefully they will do that again this weekend.
Well, football team had to win across the state in a tropical storm, and then your team up when the men went to the NCAAs ran in the snow up in Madison. So you never know. That's what it's all about in cross country.
Yeah, it was the first time one of our guys in particular last year had walked out and seen snow. So
that's crazy.
So yeah, you never know what you get.
All right, Cory. Good luck to your team.
Thank you.
The men and women in the OVC Cross Country Championships Saturday morning in Edwardsville, Illinois. When we come back, we'll check in on men's basketball with A.W. Hamilton.
We are more than just athletes. We inspire scholars. We inspire leaders. We inspire champions. We inspire family. This is the Ohio Valley Conference.
Time to talk men's basketball with A.W. Hamilton on the show. Might as well just ask the question right out of the gate and get it out of the way. Nick Mayo's gone. So goodbye to 2,316 points, 834 rebounds, 177 block shots, 124 games. How do you replace him?
You can't.
I knew you were going to tell me that.
I've been telling you the same thing. We can't. So proud of Nick, though, and how well he's doing. He's doing phenomenal.
Over in Japan.
He's doing phenomenal over in Japan. So putting up big numbers, surprisingly.
Yeah.
You know?
I love to hit the Twitter following for the Chiba Jets and then hit the translation button and see what comes up because I can't read Japanese. So he's gone, but Darius Hicks sits out. The transfer from North Carolina State, he comes in, you get recruits, other guys, Trey King's a year older. So, yeah, we're going to miss Nick, and he'll never be replaced, but you have new parts.
We do, and, you know, let me talk about Darius Hicks. He's going to be really, really good for us. And, you know, he's just a redshirt junior in the roster, and we expect big things out of him. And then you get a Trey King who's a year older. And you see Trey all the time in practice stats. He's put on 25 pounds of muscle. He looks phenomenal. And then we get Michael Marino. I love Michael Marino. I mean, he can pass, he can shoot, he's got a high basketball IQ. He had a pretty good high school coach. He did.
Yeah, the same one you had.
Yeah.
He's won more high school games than any coach in history.
But Michael didn't win a state championship, though. I did.
You probably rub that in on us. Don't rub it in on a guy that's had 2 state runner-ups. And he wasn't himself last year because of the foot injury.
But so here's where we're at right now with Michael. All right, he was out most of the summer, you know, because of the broken foot. And we had to bring him along slow, but now he's back in practice. He's down to 213 pounds. He's moving better. He looks tremendous. So he's going to play, and we're excited about that. And then talking about the other guys in the front court, Tyreek Balogun, our 6'10 freshman, who I think he's going to end up being a really good player for us. He's 6'10 with a 33-inch vertical. He just doesn't know how to use either of it yet, you know. So And then Lachlan Anderson's back. And I love Lachlan. You know, Lachlan's got a big-time motor, and he's shooting the ball better. So we got a lot of depth on our front court.
Let's go to the backcourt now because you've added some guys, both young and old, in the backcourt.
Yeah, and that was important for us. We needed to add a couple older guys. So we get Rashad Cruikshank, a junior college point guard, and then we get Tyrone Taylor, who's a grad transfer, who's played in a ton of college basketball games at Wichita State and UNC Wilmington, and has scored double figures. He averaged 13 points as a sophomore, at Wilmington. And then we got Jamal back, and we got our Houston King back, and, you know, Hobbsy's healthy. You know, Peyton Broughton was having an awesome preseason for us. He's got a sprained MCL, so he'll be back at the end of November. So, you know, we got depth there, too. We got more depth in the backcourt.
Your schedule doesn't make it any easier.
It doesn't. Third time in the history of the state of Kentucky that a Division I program is going to play all the other Division I programs, which is great for us because we want to recruit our state. Recruiting our state's really important. We have more Kentucky players, more kids from the state of Kentucky on our roster than any team in the state. It's pretty neat.
What's the one thing you want to see the biggest jump and improvement in your team from your first year?
Yeah, so we're 7-6 in one possession games. You know, and a couple of those we could have lost. Nick made some incredible plays, but we got to be more mature, finish those games off more efficient offensively. And, you know, I hope, you know, our freshmen that started most of last year turning into sophomores, kind of going through the OVC schedule, you know, mature and grow from that.
You made a rip-roaring comeback behind Nick Mayo's 40 points at Chattanooga to open the season last year, your first regular season game against the Mocs, and they got a lot of new players.
They do. It's going to be a tough game for us, but, you know, we're excited. We're going to open the season at home. We're expecting a huge crowd, you know, similar to what we had at Marshall. You know, I'm going to say it, Stotts, we may sell it out. So it's going to be fun.
All right, I'll get my tickets now.
Hey,
Coach.
Let me tell you this, too. We're on track right now to set an EKU record, most season tickets sold in a year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you're a big part of that. You bring the energy, Coach. I'm looking forward to this season.
Listen, Kirkland Humphreys has done awesome. He's been going door to door, business to business every single day. I don't even see him. He's not even in the office. I said, don't come back in here until you sell 1,000 season tickets.
Your former scholarship players last year, a local kid that was great to your program, helping you now.
Yeah, he's doing awesome.
And you got a new assistant coach, too.
We do. Reese Gaines joined the Spurs G League team. And so pumped up for Reese. That's a great opportunity. And so now we bring in Patrick Blake, who was at Coastal Carolina, who was also a junior college head coach at Chipola for a couple of years. So he's got a lot of experience.
Sounds good. I'll see you out at the Coliseum
Can't
soon.
wait, Stotts.
All right, there is an exhibition game. And by the way, the admission is free for the Thursday night game at 7 against the Mountaineers of Berea College. And then they count, W or L. Let's look for a W against Chattanooga. It comes up on Tuesday, November 5th. And then the Colonels head over to Rupp Arena for a Friday night, November 8th game, and that will be against the University of Kentucky. And that does it for another edition of Inside EKU Sports. Like and follow all of our social media pages you see on the screen. That's how you can keep up with EKU athletics. Until next week, as always, go Big E.